If you aren't proud and confident in your photography, one huge reason for this can be that you are simply believing in some things that are complete nonsense. And today I want to give you 5 photography hot takes, which I truly believe in, but some beginners will disagree with me, but I hope you are open-minded. If you're new here, hi, I'm Hugo, a photographer from Finland, and I've been doing photography now for over 8 years. I get a lot of people asking me for my help to improve their own photography so that they can become proud and confident in it. And often I see that yes, these people do lack the skills and they need to learn that, but they are also believing in some complete things that are just holding them back. So I hope that this video will open up some of these new beliefs for you so that then you are more ready to actually learn the skills that matter. But before we dive in, if you haven't tried out Focus Notes, my newsletter yet, which over 5,000 photographers are enjoying, then make sure to check that out from the first link in the description. I share exclusive photography insights over there. Alright, let's dive in. The first hot take. Your settings aren't the problem, your storytelling is. Most people focus on their settings. What's the shutter speed, the aperture and ISO, and while it's important to get this right, how you actually make great photos is down to these things. These days, nearly anyone can take a well-exposed photo. Especially if they use the auto mode in their camera or their iPhones, they can get a well-exposed photo. But a well-exposed, sharp photo doesn't mean it's a world-class photo. It just means it's a well-exposed photo. So what then differentiates a well-exposed photo from a photograph that is actually world-class? It's the storytelling. The photo will make them feel something. And if you just get the settings right, your photo won't do that. So you need to learn storytelling. And how that story is shaped is of course by what is happening in front of you. So you need to see a scene in a different way to other people so that the scene will appear interesting through the photograph. You need to know how to frame it, so compose it, because that affects a lot what emotions are coming through the photograph. And you need to learn how to bring emotion to the images. And this you simply can't do by just pointing the camera. This often does come also a lot down to editing. So you can get, of course, emotion just in a photograph without editing, but then to really get the emotion across, you need to learn editing. Often what happens is that when we shoot in RAW, which you should, the emotion can get lost between the shutter and the screen. Like you need to bring out the emotion that you actually felt in the moment in post-processing to the photograph, so that it's accurate to what you want the viewers to feel when watching the photos. So this is the first one. Really, yes, get confident in your camera. That's a crucial first step. But after that, you need to learn storytelling. And that's what's gonna differentiate you from those who just click a button to those who actually tell world-class stories and make world-class photographs that move millions of people. So, there you have it. That's the first one. Take 2. And I'm so excited for this one, because this one is something that beginners simply have tough time believing. And most photographers who do end up doing photography for many years, they end up realizing this later on, which also happened with me. I didn't believe it at first, so I hope I'll be able to make some of you believe in this truth and simply also save you money, to be fair. And this is what so many photographer colleagues I talk with from those who are very known for their photographs, or they have massive personal brands on Instagram or YouTube, they agree on this one. And they simply understand because they have so much experience. So your gear is not the problem. Upgrading your gear won't fix your photography. You need to upgrade your skills. That's really important to understand. If you just buy a new camera, what will you get? You will get new megapixels, like maybe more megapixels. Great. Then what else will you get? You will maybe get more dynamic range. Can be helpful. If you get a new lens, if you didn't feel stuck with your current lenses, then what's the difference? A bit more sharper photos? Is that gonna make you a great photographer? No. Many people out there, they get amazing camera gear and then they realize like, hey, like, why aren't my photos looking great? Like, I thought I can just buy the same camera as Hugo has and I can get these amazing photos. But that's not how it is. Yes, gear does matter to an extent. Say you just have one lens. If you feel like you miss a focal length, then you should look into buying that focal length so you can actually make the photos you want to make. But if you're covering the focal length that you want to use and you are still not proud and confident in your photography, getting more gear or better gear won't change a thing. Apart from sharpness and megapixels, which nobody else than you will notice. I shoot still with the same camera as 7 years ago. And that's Sony a7 III. And I don't have all the buttons even working on that camera. And I know that it doesn't have the most megapixels. It has 24. And I don't have the sharpest lenses. I don't have I do have one G Master lens, but that's because Sony sent it to me. But yeah, I have one G Master lens, and other ones aren't the best lenses out there. And the lens that I have used the most for my most known photographs, it cost less than 1,000. Less than 1,000. I think it's like 900 euros. In the US, I think it might be even like 900 bucks. And that I have made my best photos with that lens. It's down to skills. Down to skills. And many people, especially I feel creatives, they have this difficult time in investing in skills. Or like thinking like okay, I can actually now invest into things. That many people are used to just doing stuff for free, and although of course you can binge YouTube videos, you can learn through years of trial and error, but you can also learn faster and more effectively and save years in the process. I know that when a photographer gave me, for example, personalized advice on photography, I made so much progress just in like a few days. And really also overnight, because some of them were editing things that I was able to just correct very fast and never make those mistakes again. After analyzing the people who actually become very successful, they invest in themselves. They invest in their own skills. I can say this year alone, I paid for a mentor. I should say invested, because I made it's an investment. I invested more to a mentor than to my freaking car. And I can absolutely say that was the best investment I have ever done. And now after I have, well, I guess I can call myself successful in photography and business side of things, like I really want to keep doing this, like investing, because that just propels me forward. It's really very difficult for many creatives to do at first, but when you do it, there's no going back. When you buy the first ebook, that could be the thing that like you see like, okay, like now like I will learn things much faster. Then maybe you go to a course and then you get one-on-one mentorship. Or then maybe you are someone who just directly goes to mentorship because you want the best and most efficient way to learn, and you want to save most of time, and you don't want to be reading like huge PDFs on theory that won't be the easiest to apply. So anyway, focus on gaining the skills. Really do that. And if you are someone who is serious about gaining the skills so that you can become proud and confident in your photography, I do help photographers achieve this and become proud and confident in their photography in just 8 weeks in my Storylines mentorship. If you're interested in working with me and you want to learn more about the details and so on, then DM me on Instagram with ready and let's chat. Can I accept you in the mentorship? And indeed, this is for serious people only. It's not free and it's far from cheap. So this is only for those who are really serious about doing this, who are ready to invest in themselves instead of just buying randomly more gear. All right. So that was hot take number 2. Hot take number 3. I'm so excited for this one too. So if you can't make a great photo in your hometown, you can't make a great photograph in a world-class location either. Like Iceland, Finnish Lapland, Patagonia. If you can't make a great photo in your hometown, you're just wasting your money going to these amazing places for photography. Experience is another thing, but don't expect to get great photos if you can't make great photos in your hometown. Now, there's gonna be some of you saying, Hugo, well, that's very easy for you to say because you live in Finland, and while that is partly true, if I can say this between you and I find my hometown quite boring. Very boring, actually. And I'm like, there isn't too much here. Not too much. But what I've learned is to wait for the right conditions, and I've trained my eye to see the special corners of this place. And this is also what many people from my hometown say. I showcase the photos of my hometown, and they're like, this is nothing like the hometown actually looks like. They just haven't trained themselves to see those parts of this place. And every place in the world, no matter where you are from, there is a great photo to be taken. Somewhere. If you're not seeing it, then one, it might be that you keep telling yourself there's nothing to photograph, so then you won't actually see anything because your brain is just shut off. Or then two, you haven't trained your brain and your eye enough. And this stops you from seeing the best photos out there. So, really, if you can't make a great photo in your hometown, don't expect to be able to make it in a great location either. So, focus on skills. That's the main thing. Alright, number 4. If a viewer can't feel anything through your photo, it doesn't matter how sharp it is. Doesn't matter the sharpness. Doesn't matter. So, this connects somewhat to what we talked earlier. Sharpness, to an extent, is of course important because people need to understand what's going on. If you have a completely accidentally blurred photo, then that's very bad. It's gonna confuse the message of the photograph. But the main thing is that people feel something through the photo, or you feel something through the photo. And I can confess that my most popular photo ever that I took actually 6 years ago now, it is originally unsharp. It was the second time I was using this affordable astro lens of mine, and it was the second time I was using a manual lens, so there was only manual focus, and I had very tough time focusing. And when you would really zoom in to the photograph, like really in the high-res file, you will see it's not completely focused. The stars aren't absolutely like tack sharp, and the person there isn't tack sharp either. There's some motion blur too. And I just have done a lot of post-processing trying to make it look sharper. And I think I did quite well, but it's still not perfectly sharp. But that still is my most popular photograph, and it has made people really feel different kind of emotions. I remember, for example, getting a comment on that photograph back in the day that it made, like, somebody was having a very bad day and they looked at the photograph, and after they were looking at it, their day just became better. They forgot the like sadder things in their life for a moment and really turned the day around. And that's because what emotions came across from the photo. Not the sharpness. The person didn't care about the sharpness. Most people watching your photo don't care about the sharpness. When I look at photos, I don't really care about the sharpness. Sometimes I geek about the sharpness if it's like a really close-up of an animal and I'm like, ooh, this is sharp. But most of the time, it's not the thing I geek about necessarily. Although it's cool, of course, when something is sharp. What I do geek most about, though, is the emotion. What comes across from the photo. That's the most important thing. Focus on capturing the moment, the story, and not just the sharpness. And then we are down to the last hot take for now. Many photography teachers out there say, take a photo every day. And like, go shoot every day, and do this and do that, and you will improve. And I'm not saying that's not completely true. But it's not necessary. You don't need to make a photograph every day to improve. Those who just say that, it's not true. When I was starting out, I was taking photos often, but not every day, not every second day. Sometimes there was long periods where I didn't touch my camera. And the years I have now done photography for, it has kind of been the same thing. So there are periods where I photograph a lot, then there are periods where I don't touch the camera at all. I can say, for example, this year, January, I photographed a lot because I was in Japan. February, after I came back from Japan, I don't think I went to shoot at all. Maybe once, but not more than that. Then March, I went to photograph 1 or 2 times. And then in April, I was shooting more because I went to Bali. And there are these periods in my career, and it has repeated in the same way. But still, I have been able to improve despite these breaks. So there are seasons in photography. There are seasons where you don't touch the camera. Perhaps you're then editing the photos, which is what I have done in those periods of not photographing. And there are periods where you're just shooting a lot, and perhaps you aren't editing. Understand, you don't need to pick up the camera every single day. If you were to come to my mentorship, what we would do is that you do shoot once a week. Of course, you can do more if you want, but at least once a week for 8 weeks, and this is gonna get you to another level. Now, if you're just doing that on your own, you might improve, of course, to some extent, but it's not gonna make you necessarily proud and confident in your photography in just 8 weeks. It's gonna take longer, way longer. I'm saying this is that you will learn a lot through shooting, but you also need to analyze. And often it's hard to see where you analyze, like what's going wrong with your photographs on your own. You might spot some things, but often the things that truly make the difference are the things you are seeing. And that's where it becomes valuable to get somebody to actually show you, like, hey, this thing I would do completely differently, and this thing you shouldn't be doing this with your photos. And then when this is continued, there's this feedback loop, then that's how you actually improve. So do not feel you need to go shoot every day. I'm busy. I'm sure you are busy to at least some extent. You have other things to do as well that you want to do. So you can't go shoot every day. And no, you don't need to do that. You just need the right amount of practice in, which could be like once a week. I think that's a good amount. And then you just need the right guidance and the feedback, and that's how you propel faster forward. But don't feel you need to do it every single day. All right, so those were my hot takes. I hope that was insightful and that you learned something. And if you completely disagree with me, feel free to come and have a conversation in the comments. But yeah, I wish I knew all of this when I started. And indeed, if you are someone who's serious about improving faster and becoming proud and confident in your photography without wasting endless amount watching the random tutorials online, and without relying on luck to get good shots, and without being completely stuck not knowing what to fix, then DM me on Instagram with ready to apply to work with me in Storylands mentorship. And if you did find this video insightful, you will also love this video over here, where I will go through 7 mistakes I see so many photographers making, and after you watch that, you know to avoid this mistake. So watch that next, and see you in the next one.